Hello, 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 everybody out there in Flosstube world. This is Vicky, aka the Virginia Stitcher, coming to you with my Flosstube number. Let me look down. 32. I don't know why I can't remember names, and I'm not very good at remembering numbers sometimes. But Flosstube number 32. This is what is this? Thursday, December 8th of 2022, and it's been a long time. Last time I chatted with you guys was back in October, I think October 24th, if I remember right. So I am titling this video, Falling into Christmas, because last time I chatted with you guys, I was still working on some of my fall projects and Halloween. And since I've been with you guys, I have worked on about 20 different things. As I've said before, I squirrel all over the place, so that's not surprising. So I do have basically what I would consider a mini WIP parade to show you guys today. So get yourself a beverage, get your favorite stitching, settle back in your favorite chair, and join me as I share what I've been stitching on lately. Since I last spoke to you guys, well, like I said, we had Halloween. And then the very beginning of November, I go every year on a retreat with a bunch of my girlfriends to a place called Hat Creek Camp. It's in Brooknell, Virginia. So, and that's out in the country. It's way out there. And we get together, and it started as a crafting weekend, and a lot of ladies do different kind of crafting. I took stitching, so some of the stitching I did at that retreat, and I will show you that. A lot of them do other things, paper crafting, knitting. One girl used to do smocking, one of the ladies, just all kinds of different. One of them is an artist. I mean, a serious artist. Her name is Lori, and I was sitting next to her, and she was working on a portrait that she was doing for an upcoming art event that she was going to be participating in that weekend. Gorgeous. She just blows me away with her artistic ability. She is awesome. So I went on that retreat. Then between that retreat and Ocean City, which I just got back from on Monday, this past Monday, we had Thanksgiving sandwiched in between. So I had two retreats, Thanksgiving. We had Thanksgiving at our house, had a few people over, had my niece who lives down in the Hampton area of Virginia, whose husband is deployed on ship right now. And and will be through Christmas, through all the holidays. But she might be going home to visit with her dad for Christmas. We've invited her for Christmas if she can't. He lives down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas. So we had family here. I've been doing Christmas shopping, started some decorating, but actually this was my husband. When I was gone to Ocean City, he actually started the decorating because I hadn't had a chance to even get to any decorating. And that's why I haven't, it's been 6 weeks since I've had a video. I've just been so busy. I mean, I've been able to fit in stitching in the evenings when I'm relaxing and here and there in between activities and things, but just didn't have a good 3-hour chunk. It takes me about 3 or 4 hours to do a video. Well, my videos end up being like, this is probably gonna be 2 hours long. So, but he did the decorating. He decorated this tree. I am upstairs in my living room. So this is a different venue, different scenery for you guys to look at. I wanted to put the tree in here since it is December. We're only a couple or so weeks away from Christmas, and but I still need to put my snow village up here. He did not do that. I put that like a Santa village up here on a display here. This house is an open concept. Our master bedroom is right off of this living room, kitchen, dining room area. So in our dining room, we have the nativity. My husband set that up and stuff. So I still have to decorate. We have this tree, this snow flocked tree up here. This is our newer Christmas tree. We got a couple of years ago when we moved into this house, but we have our standard traditional green, regular pine needle green looking Christmas tree that's downstairs. He's put the lights on it, but I still need to put the decorations on that tree down there. So got a little bit more decorating to do still, but I wanted to really get this video in here. I feel so bad that and I've missed you guys and want to show you what I've been up to, and it's a lot. So I am going to try to get to that really quickly. I have around 20 WIPs and 5 new starts to show you. And then I've got a little bit of haul. Oh, I didn't bring my charts that I picked up at Salty Yarns. When I go to Ocean City, I always shop at Salty Yarns. And they're in the process of getting ready to move. They are on the boardwalk in Ocean City, and they are getting ready to move to Berlin, Maryland, which is only about 7 or 8 miles from oceanfront, from the boardwalk. So it's not that far. I'll still visit Salty Yarns every time more than likely, every time when I go to my Ocean City retreat with a few friends. But they were still on the boardwalk for this time. So of course I walked down there a couple of different times and did a little bit of shopping. And I did pick up a couple of charts, and I forgot to bring them upstairs. My crafting room is right underneath me, right underneath the living room here is my craft room. So it's downstairs. It's down in the basement. I don't know if I might try to remember to show you guys next time the couple of charts I picked up. It was a couple of Blackbird ones, and one of them I actually started on. So I will be showing that one to you. It's in one of my new starts. So, I guess let's get ready. Let's get right into it. Let's get into all my WIPs. So, this was a restart. It wasn't a new start. Let me go ahead and show you this one, since she's right here. I have a whole pile right next to my couch, and I got it loaded with many different projects here. Let's see. And I was told by a commenter that I talk too much and I need to show more products. I'm gonna say I talk a lot, so sorry. I said I would try to get better. This one, I had originally, I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've done one. I feel like I haven't ever done a video. This one I had originally started on a Jody fabric by Steel City Stitchers on a 32 count Lugana. And this one, she doesn't name her, I'm sorry, let me show you the product first. The chart first. This one is Stargazer by Mirabilia. And I wanted to do her on a darker fabric, more like a nighttime looking fabric, because I had seen her stitched up at StitchCon on the brag table, and it was just absolutely gorgeous done on a darker piece of fabric. So I started her on this 32 count. Let me make sure I'm showing you the front. This 32 count Lugana by, sorry, all my stuff's gonna be wrinkly. By Jody from Steel City Stitchers, piece of her fabric. And I checked my lighting when I set up here a couple of hours ago, because in the meantime, I took a shower and ate some lunch, and then I came back up and it got cloudy. It was nice and sunny up here before. So I do have my French doors that lead out to our little balcony up here, right next to me. So, but that's, oh, she's upside down. I'm watching in the on my screen, and I can tell because this is her arm right here. This is her shoulder. So that's how far I had gotten on her. But then I realized that this is a 32 count piece of fabric, and it's been over dyed, so it's actually a very tight weave. It's smaller than a regular 32 count. And if I'm going to put beads on this, I realized this is probably too small of a count for me to work on this, because otherwise I would have kept with this piece of fabric. So I looked in my stash, and I wanted to pick something that was on a 28 count or a 16 count. And this is actually a 16 count piece of Ada by Picture This Plus in the color Gothic. Oh, and this is going to be see-through. Where's my board? I put everything next to me. Here we go. See the lights of the tree behind me. So, and I got a string hanging here. See, because I was still working on her. But this is how far I was able to get on her on this Gothic. So now my beads should fit. because I've done other memorabilias on 16 count and I have no problem with the beads fitting. So I either want to do a 28 count Lugana or a 16 count Ada, no bigger than a 16 count, so that I can make sure that her beads fit. So this is my restart on Stargazer by Mirabilia. And that was my reasoning to restart her on a different piece of fabric, was because I don't know where I'm going to throw things up here. Because I wanted to make sure my beads laid properly. If you do your Mirabilias, if you have things that have beads in them, you're either going to have to switch the size of your beads if you want to use a totally different kind of account of fabric that won't work. I want to use the beads that are called for. I've already kitted her with her beads, so I wanted to make sure her beads fit nice and straight and flat and not all bunched up and start looking like a gnarled mess. So I needed to restart her. Now, like I said, this is fall into Christmas. So way back when I finished with you guys, when I checked in with you guys last, I was working on Teresa Kogut's Halloween sampler out of her new Halloween book. And it looks like this. And I am stitching this one on a piece of 32 count Lugana in the color Caramel Macchiato by Fiber on a Whim. And this I had picked up at Salty Yarns when I was there in September. Like I said, that's in Ocean City, Maryland. They you can shop online with them. So, and this is a big piece of fabric. So let me fold it in half, and then it shouldn't be see-through for sure. Is this my Fiber on a Whim? I don't think this is Fiber on a Whim. Is it? Let me double check. Oh, yep, it is. That's what it says. Okay. It feels like a Fortnite Fabrics piece. And that's where I am. So I think the last time, this has been a while, but I remember I worked on this little sign that says boo, and I think this bird. I believe I might have put that bird in since the last time I showed this to you. So this is 32 count Lugana in the color Caramel Macchiato by Fiber on a Whim. And this is Teresa Kogut's Halloween sampler. And that is, this one more than likely now is going to be put away until next fall, unless I just get, a filling to work on some Halloween sometime in the year before fall. So that's where I am on that one. I'm going to just try to throw them down there. I'm just going to have a mess on the floor when I'm done. This next one is a new start. And this one is by Lori Holt. I ordered this from the Fat Quarter Shop. And this one is called, and I don't think I showed this to you. I might have showed it to you last time. I don't know. But I think I did a little more progress on it. This one is called Autumn Love. Like I said, it's by Lori Holt. And you can purchase this at the Fat Quarter Shop. I purchased it online from them. And I am stitching this one on, looks like a 16 count piece of Ada. Let me see if I have, I'm stitching this one on, yeah. In the color White Chocolate. And I am using all the called for DMCs. I think so far these other two work with the called for threads also. And I had just a little bit of work on it so far. Not very far on this one. This one's going to get pulled up next fall and get worked on, but that's where I am. I just got the very top left square done, and then I started on this one. This is the beginning of a pumpkin in there. So I'm working right here. I've got this square done and started on that square with the pumpkin and the crow and the sunflower. So that's how far I was able to get on this one. Like I said, this is 16 count Ada in the color White Chocolate. This is I believe a Witchell. It's a crunchy Ada that I had in my stash. I don't have plans to purchase any more of this really stiff Ada. It's not my favorite to work on. One of the things I've noticed with that, it's all I pretty much used to work on before and didn't know there was anything different. But the crunchy Ada, Kind of hurts my fingers if I've been stitching on it for longer than an hour. Just pulling the needle through, it's such a stiff fabric, it doesn't give. That, speaking of needles, there's one on my couch now. Stick it up here. Must have fallen out of one of my things. So it starts hurting my fingers, and it wrinkles really bad. When you fold it, it creases really badly. And so when I fold it up to put it in my project bags, it just looks like a mess. And it's not my favorite anymore. I still have some in my stash. I still have a few more of these that you'll see that I'll show today. I've stitched on that crunchy Ada, and I'll continue on them, but it's not my fabric of choice anymore. This was another one of my new starts, and I didn't get very far on this one. This is Plum Street Sampler's Blackbird Fractor. And I just really wanted to get started on this, but then I squirreled and I started working on something else, and I think I only worked one day on this. Also, I made a mistake. I'm trying to look at where. And I had to frog out about half of it. And I don't think I even got that restitched in when I had to frog out. So I am stitching this one on 28 count Lugana in the color Oatmeal by Fiber on a Whim. This fabric is perfect for this one. I love it. I started working on the black wrought iron fence that's at the bottom, and that's how far I am. I had the top part of the fence done where it looked spiky and kind of design on the top, but I had messed that all up, so I had to take all of that out. So I only have the bottom part of the fence. I don't know if you can see where the holes are kind of a little bit bigger where I had to pull my stitches out, but I had that. This is just half of that fencing underneath the crow. So I am just over here. Make sure I'm showing you the right side. Yeah, I'm just over here. And the spiky areas I had messed up. So I had to frog it out. I have to redo that. So that was one of my new starts that I had just started probably the end of October. I think I started that one right around Halloween time frame. This other Halloween piece was one I had showed you last time, but I did pull it up and get some more work on it since I've last spoken with you guys. And this is my Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. It looks like this. And I had already had this block done, this block half done, and I was working down here. I was working on that cat and the pumpkin and the witch, and I wanted to get work on the cauldron. And this one I'm stitching on a 16 count piece of Ada, overdyed Ada by Picture This Plus in the color Jay, J-A-Y. Let me unfold it here. And I had gridded this whole thing out. I have to stand up and show you. Oop, I can't really back my chair up. And this is how far I am. So since I had last spoken to you, I was working on that middle block. So I was working on the witch, you know, the cauldron, the flames. She's putting a bat into that cauldron. I just have her hat and I think a little bit of detail in her face, mostly left to do. So, and that is a lot of stitching. I was, you know, I finished, like I probably did, you know, a good amount. I can't remember what all, because like I said, it's been over a month now. And I've stitched on several things since then, but I know I was working on that middle block. So this is how far I am on my Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. And this J is, that's a good representation of the color right there. It's kind of a purpley blue color with some gray in it. When I put it up really close to the screen, the camera wants to wash it out and make it look a lot more like a light gray. It's actually a purpley blue color. So, worked a little bit on that one. That one will get put away till probably next fall. I hope that isn't making too much noise. I do have a rug down here. This is hardwood floors up here, but I do have a rug, and I'm trying to throw them down onto the rug so they don't make too much racket. This next one I worked on just one day. But I thought I would show it to you guys anyway. And this one I've shown you a few different times before because I have been working on it on and off here and there. And that is my His Eye is on the Sparrow by Heartstring Samplery by Beth Twist. And I started up here and I've been working all in here. So I've got most of that stitched in. I am stitching this one on a 32 count. Let me look and see if I have it written down. 32 count, Vintage Country Mocha. Is it 32 or 28? It might actually be 28 count. It's either 32 or 28. Vintage Country Mocha Lagana. And I am this far. Ooh. So I had extended the border over before. It's really hard for me to get all of that in there. And then this last time I worked on, I already had His Eye is on the Sparrow, I believe. Did I put Sparrow in? I think I had His Eye is on the, and I might have put this wording in, and I blocked in this part of the house. But this is my progress on His Eye is on the Sparrow. I am doing most of the called fors, but I am subbing in a couple of the colors that I did not have. Sorry for my throat. So this is, I hope you can see through it a little bit. I can see a shadow of myself. I hope that's coming out clear for you guys. I'm sorry that I do have the lights behind me. But I wanted to have a Christmas backdrop. So that's where I am on that one. And that's probably where it's going to end for the year. Until I, because I'm going to be working on probably a lot of Christmas pieces and a couple of other things. Not sure if we'll get this one pulled up any time in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So then November 1st came around and I wanted to join in on Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery. He was doing a hashtag Black November Sal or Black Sampler November Sal, something like that. So I wanted to work on a black sampler. And I had this one in my stash. It's not necessarily done in black, but I switched it to black because this is in really dark blues and purples. But this one's called Midnight in the Garden by, who's this one? Sampler Cove. And it looks like this. I wanted a completely different, if I'm going to do just black stitching, I wanted to pick a pretty piece of fabric, like a nice unique color. And since this was a garden, Midnight in the Garden, I picked this green color. But that's all I got done on this one. Just up there in the upper corner. That's it. Not very far. Only worked on it one afternoon. Like I said, there was a lot of time that I was busy. Oh, I know what it was. The next day I was leaving for my retreat. No, I think a day or so later, I was leaving to go to Hat Creek. So I didn't have time. I didn't take this with me. And I didn't have time to work on this one anymore. But every year when he does his Black Sampler November, I may just pull this out and work on it because I like it. It's coming out pretty. Love this piece of fabric. This one is a 16 count Ada. It's an over dyed. Let me see if I have the information on this one. This one is thyme, like the herb, Thyme. And I'm not sure who it's by because it wasn't written on here. This one I had picked up at Brick City Stitchers in Ocala, Florida, when I went down to Florida to visit my mom back in September. I picked up this piece of fabric, and this is about true to color right here. It's really pretty green mottled piece of fabric. And they did not have it listed who the dyer was, so I'm not sure who dyed this piece of fabric, but I do know it's a 16 count Ada in the color Thyme, and I am using a black silk part of a hank of a black silk from Silks for You. It's just her black silk. I'm not sure what number that is, but it's on her website. Let's put that on the pile all together. Now this was a new start, and this was another pitiful new start, like that one. But one day I thought, I want to get started on this, and I thought I would take it with me to my retreat in Hat Creek. Let me see if you guys can see it in the plastic. Nope. This kind of bag is too shiny. This is a Prairie Schooler. It's called Christmas Eve. And I started this one on a piece of 16 count Aida. Here's what it looks like. And I started this one on this, it's a softer Aida. It's very soft. It's not crunchy like the other. It doesn't stand up on its own. This one is, and that's how far I got. But this one is called Country French Golden Needle, I believe. And those lights are shining through a little bit. I don't have a whole lot there to show you anyway, but just the very little bit of his sleigh back here. I had bordered it in. I worked on the border, got it all the way across. So basically the border just goes a little bit farther over. It's not a very big piece. But I started on this part right here. I got the very top of his sack and a little bit of his sleigh in. That's it. Not much. That's a pitiful start. But a start nonetheless. So whenever I feel like working on this one some more, it's already started. And I can just pull it up and start working on it some more. So that's how far I got on that one. And like I said, that's a new start. Haven't seen that one before. And then I pulled up one that I hadn't touched in a little while, but I love, and it was calling to me. I love it. I had a commenter say she has what she calls a screaming rotation. And I love that. Yeah, whatever's screaming at her the loudest. Well, this one had been screaming to me. This one had been on my mind for quite a while. And I just never got around to having the time to work on it. And I finally said, you know what? I really want to pull this one out, and I want to give it some love, and I want to work on it. And I had picked this up at In Stitches in Alexandria, Virginia when I was there. And it's Dog's Declaration by Ink Circles. Oh, let me pull it out of the plastic. Sometimes it's hard to get these back in the plastic. And it's so crinkly, I try not to. I know people complain about crinkling noises and things like that. But there we go, much better to see. And I started in the upper left-hand corner. So what I had done was I already had the word life in a bunch of these motifs in the corner here. So I wanted to come down and work on the word liberty, because it says life, liberty, and the pursuit of squirrels. And this is stitched up. They have a model of this at In Stitches, and it is gorgeous. So I am stitching this one on a piece of 32 count Lugana in the color Antique White. So just a white Aida, Lugana. And I am this far on it. This is where I am. Sorry for the wrinkles again. It's been in its project bag. But I was able to get the word liberty in. And these two little birds. And of course the acorn dots the I for liberty. So I had this over here already done. And I came over and did that work. And that's where I am on Dog's Declaration by Ink Circles. It's a really cute piece. I love it. And it's fun to stitch on. A lot of color changes in places, but really pretty. So sometimes when I don't mind doing a little bit of color changing, then I just work on that one. And speaking of color changing, I had somebody comment on I think it was on my last video, asking, they wanted to work on some lavender and lace pieces, but knew I worked on lavender and lace, things like lavender and lace and mirabilia, and that there are a lot of color changes, and how do I wrangle or handle all the threads? Because they said, surely you don't start and stop every color, and yes, I do. I don't wrangle a bunch of threads. Let me just do a sidebar here. This is a Mirabilia. You can see all the different changes in color there in her dress that I'm working on. But I don't have a bunch of threads. I just had the one I was working with hanging down. So I don't do a lot of color changes. I don't do it like a Hade, like a Heaven and Earth design, like a full coverage. I work on it there's some surging thread in my way, one color at a time. So I just do, you know, this batch of color here, and then I'll into my thread. I kind of color complete in an area, and then I tie off my thread, and then I go on to the next color. So I don't use a lot of different colors. That's not how I stitch those. So I'm hoping if you're listening that made sense to you, because I was trying to figure out what the person meant by all the threads. And I thought, oh, they must think I work on it like some people do with Heaven and Earth design, you know, full coverage pieces where they do the parking method and they have all the different threads. I don't do that. It doesn't work for me. I tried it on my one full coverage piece I have, Bonded by the Rain. It's too many threads. I can't. I don't like it. They get in my way. So I do a thread at a time, and I kind of color complete an area. So the next one I worked on was by Plum Street Samplers, and it's called The Gather In. I showed this to you guys last time, but I worked on it some more. Gave it some more love. This one I started for Barb Lost in Floss, was doing a stitch along for Leanne's Legacy. Hashtag Leanne's Legacy was her friend that they were doing the Flosstube channel together, Lost in Floss. And Leanne passed away, and so she wanted to commemorate, you know, do a memorial for her, and asked anybody if they wanted to stitch on something. And Leanne loved fall pieces, so I picked this one. And this one is being stitched on it was being stitched on a 16 count piece of Ada in the color Moccasin, but then I didn't like the way it was turning out, so I switched my fabric. Oh, this might have been the one that I had another commenter ask me what fiber on a whim that this one was. Because this one is being stitched on a piece of Lugana by Fiber on a Whim. I'll show you real quick, and I'll see if I can look up the fabric, see if it's in the bag at all. But this one is, I think I came and I finished the house, or this whole side. I think I still had a bunch up here left, and I finished filling it all in. And I'm loving it on this piece of fabric much, much better. But this is a Lugana by Fiber on a Whim. Let me see if it's here. Oh yes, this is 28 count Lugana in the color Caramel Macchiato. That's what it is. So here we go. Show you again. I was bound and determined to get the whole side of that building finished. And I did, except for filling in the windows. I need to still fill in the windows, but I got all of that filled in. That was a lot of fill-in stitching, so I was doing that, you know, while I was watching TV in the evenings with my husband for a few more days, and got that finished. So I feel like that's at a good kind of stopping point for the until next fall. What I think I'm going to do, when I'm more of a seasonal stitcher. I mean, if a piece calls to me and it's not in the season, I'll stitch on it. But 9 times out of 10, it doesn't call to me out of its season. Fall pieces don't call to me in, you know, like February or whatever. But what I think I'm going to do with my seasonal rotation is generally November, December, and January be my December, January, February be my winter stitching. March, April, May be my spring stitching for the most part. June, July, August, my summer stitching. And then September, October, November be my fall stitching. That's what feels right to me. That's when I'm wanting to stitch on those kind of seasonal pieces. And then I throw in samplers and things like that here and there too. So this was one of my WIPGO pieces that I needed to work on, and I wanted to work on it, and I did in the month of November. I wanted to work on it right around Thanksgiving, and this one is by Twin Peak Primitives, and it's called The First Thanksgiving. And it looks like this, and I've been working up in here on it. And so I pulled it out. I needed to work on it for at least 10 hours for my WIPGO goal. And so I worked some more here. I had this one house either all the way done. I think I might have had it finished, or I still needed to work some on the roof, maybe on that one. But I came in and I was working in that vignette, the Plymouth Plantation part, in the middle there, kind of the upper middle section. This one is being stitched on a 16 count Aida. This one's a crunchy Aida, but it's actually softening up some as I work on it, so it's not quite as stiff, but it still was hurting my fingers with trying to work on it, you know, 3 or 4 hours in a day, trying to get my 10 hours in. My fingers were getting sore. But here I am on this one. And again, because it's that crunchy Aida, it's more wrinkly. So I came in, I had, I think this part of the fence and ground finish and most of this house in. So I came in, I put the tree in, some of this water, this other fence, more of the ground, and this part of this building. So I actually got quite a bit done on that one for my 10 hours. And there's the whole piece. So enjoy it. I think it's really pretty. Like I said, this is 16 count Aida in the color Dirty. And you see how the whites are popping? If you're looking for an Aida color where white will pop off of it, you know, and you want a neutral color, Dirty is a good color. Milk Chocolate is another good color. And I think there might be another one. Those are good go-tos for a neutral tan color that shows whites really well. So, and like I said, that's Twin Peak Primitive. So I worked some more on that one. So I think that finishes out all the fall stuff that I was working on in the end of October and the first part of November. And then I started picking up some other things. And another one that I wanted to complete off my WIPGO board is, well, not complete the whole project, but get my goal in of 10 hours of stitching on it. So I pulled this up and worked 10 more hours on this one. And this is by Plum Street Samplers, and it's Live on Little. Looks like this. And I was working, I think, a lot here. I was getting the sailboat in and stuff. Sailboat and water. So I pulled this one up. This is on a Lugana, and this one is, oh, what is this one? Is it still on there? I've been trying to leave yep. This is a Jody fabric from Steel City Stitchers, 28 count Lugana. She does not name her fabric, so I can't give you a name. It's very much close to Vintage Country Mocha. That's what it looks like to me. So let me double this so maybe it won't be see-through. And hold this up. And this is where I am on this one. So I came in and I blocked in the area for the water, did the boat, and started filling in some of the water in the waves. Put it in closer there for you. What I think is neat about this piece is it has 3 flags that fly from the mast here, 3 small flags. And she provides the flags for the different alphabet so that you can put your own initials in there. So I'm going to do that when I get up to that point, when I start putting the flags in. But this is where I am on Live on Little by Plum Street Samplers. And this is 28 count Lugana by Jody with the Steel City Stitchers, piece of her fabric. So it's nice and soft and really pretty fabric. Really nice to work with. Because this is the true to color out here. So you can see the mottling in it. And like I said, it reminds me a lot, the color of it, like a Vintage Country Mocha color. Well, let me see. I got a Vintage Country Mocha. Well, it's a little lighter. I'm going to give you a sneaky peek of... It's a little lighter than Vintage Country Mocha. So never mind. It's not like it. That's a Vintage Country Mocha. but it's 10 and modeled. I mean, she doesn't name them, so I can't give you a name for that one. I think hers are just dyed in batches, and she doesn't re-dye the same batch. That's my thinking, is why she doesn't name them, because she has no intention of going back and doing the exact same color again, and probably doesn't want to promise people the exact same color and then think, well, you know, it doesn't look like the previous piece I got that was named that or whatever. Like, I don't know, say if she's named this one Sand, and you said, I want to order another piece of sand, and it came out and it looked totally different. So, because she probably just does one-offs, and that's how they are. This next piece that I was working on is another one for my WIPGO. I was doing good in the month of November of working on some of my WIPGO pieces and getting caught up. This one's in one of those vinyl fronted bags, and things always get stuck in on the vinyl. But this one is Gila Jay, 1898, and this is by Reflet de Soie. Looks like this. This is the original. They did the reproduction of this. They charted this as a reproduction piece. So this one is missing stitches and stuff. So they've charted it where you can have the stitches in there. So this picture here doesn't do it any justice. I've seen this one stitched up by a couple of different people, and it is beautiful. I think Lisa Kindred Stitcher on Flosstube. So if you look up Kindred Stitcher, she has stitched it and finished it. It's hanging on her wall. Deb from Country Stitchers on Flosstube, she's done it. It's beautiful. I think there's a couple of other people. This one I'm stitching on. This looks like a fiber on a whim. Maybe this was the piece the lady was talking about, asking what I had stitched this one on. But this is a piece of 28 count Lugana by Fiber on a Whim. And I came in and I extended the border in my 10 hours. I extended the border over and I did E, F, G, H, I believe, on there. So that's where I am on Gila Jay. Loving this piece. It's so pretty. So I'm sorry. This is probably a Fiber on a Whim Latte, because I have another piece that I'm stitching on Latte by Fiber on a Whim, and it looks very similar to this, where it's a lighter color with just a little bit of mottling in it, not a whole lot. I am using all of the called for DMCs for that one. This one comes charted with Stargazer or DMC, and I picked the DMC. Stargazer is a silk, and I'm doing the DMC conversion for this one. It is provided with the chart. Now we're starting to get into some of the Christmas stuff I've been working on. This one, let me see if I can find the actual picture. This one is called Santa's Village, and the inspiration for this one was Dina, the Nightly Stitcher on Flosstube. She was working on this one and showing it, and she's got a lot of it done, and she was trying to get it finished. She hasn't yet, I don't believe. But the Santa's Village, and I'm working on the first one, so it's just this one right here. I have all 12 of them, but this one is actually Santa's house. This one is being stitched on Vintage Country Mocha, and I probably need a board behind it because it is still on the Q-snap, because I plan on working on it some more. And this is how far I got. I got his little house in, the little tree. I still need to do the red baubles on the tree. Got all the snow. So I need the red baubles, and I need Santa and a few snowflakes. I thought there was a piece of thread still in this somewhere for the snowflakes, but I guess not. And that's where I am. I'll give you a more close-up look on this. Isn't it pretty? Isn't it cute? So, oh, and I still need to do, there's like a vine that goes along the bottom of every piece. So that's what I still have left. I have the star button that will go on the treetop, and I'm going to put beads in the little wreath over the door, and I'll use beads for like eyes and things like that too on this piece, wherever there's little eyes and little places where I can put beads, and I'm going to do beads. That's where I am on Santa's Village. I have all 12 parts. I've showed it to you before when I showed that I'm starting on it. So I don't want to get them all out of the bag because I got a lot to show you guys. But having fun with this one. I think this one's coming out really cute, really pretty, really Christmassy. So that's my vibe right now. Let me put these back in the bag. And I have all the buttons. Like I said, there's a star button that goes on top of the tree. Each piece has like a button for it, and I've ordered all the buttons. So I won't put the buttons on until I'm all the way done with the stitching. So my next, oh my gosh, I gotta sneeze. Sorry guys. Sorry for that. The next one is another Christmas, and this was a new start. And this one is called, let me take it out of this plastic because this is super shiny plastic. This one is called Quaker Christmas 2 by Bygone Stitches. And this one's a big piece with lots of Quakers. Looks like this. And I'm working all the way up in the upper corner. And I am stitching this one on a piece of Fortnite Fabrics, which I love their fabric. This one is called Plush, and it is a 28 count, board behind it, 28 count Lugana, and the color Plush by Fortnite Fabrics. Excuse my thread there. I was just getting ready to start to do the "Oh Come All You Faithful," start the lettering up there, get some green in. But I got that far, stitched on it for a couple of days. Didn't get real far on this one. You know, like I said, I've been busy, so as I have time, I pick pieces up and I start stitching on them. So I got that far on this one. And Lisa, Kindred Stitcher, she has finished this one. She has shown it recently. She's got this one completely finished and framed. And it hangs on her wall year round. She does not take it down. She leaves it up. And I don't blame her. You put all that work in a piece, and it's your house. You know, put up what you want on your walls. Another Christmas one that I think is a new start since, I don't think I should, oh, well, it's a restart. This one is a restart. Sometimes I start on pieces on a piece of fabric that I had from, you know, back when I was first back into stitching. And then I realized I don't care for that piece of fabric. It's not working for me. Let me see if I left it in here. Oh, I didn't. Dang-nabbit. I've showed it to you before. I had it on a piece of 16 count Aida that I had ordered off of Etsy. I don't even remember who the Etsy seller was. And I don't like to, you know, some other people might like the fabric. The fabric had, it was a bluish fabric, a pretty color, but I don't know what the dyeing process was for that piece of fabric. It was kind of like coated, like rubbery on the one side, on your front side of it. It almost felt plasticky or rubbery, like there was some kind of coating on it. And it actually kind of was coated into the holes of the Aida also. So when I was trying to poke my needle through the holes, I just wasn't enjoying stitching on it. I just really wasn't. So this one is called the Snow Village by Country Cottage Needleworks. And I think there are 10 different ones. The one I am working on is called the Snowflake Stand. That looks like this. And there are several. We got Peppermint Parlor. What is this one? Snow Cone Cart. So there are a lot of these, the Snow Village. This one's been out for a little while. People have finished it. What really made me want to pull this out and work on it again is somebody had finished it on Instagram, and it was so pretty. And I thought, why am I not working on it? And I realized why I was not. I had these two, I wish I brought it, because I had these two stitched on it. Now they're stitched really close together. So what I think I'm going to save them, and I'm going to do probably like a flat fold where I just kind of glue it onto something just to save them. But I had stitched 2 of these already. And so I don't want to throw those away because they came out pretty. It's just, I am not going to continue stitching on this if I am not liking the fabric. I don't know, it's really funny kind of fabric. It's the only piece of fabric I have that's like that. I don't know how that piece was dyed, but this is one too where I have all this scribbled notes of how I want to put it on what order to put it in and all that kind of stuff. And, I was trying to figure it all out. I was like, oh my gosh, Vicki. So this one is being stitched now on a piece of Lugana. What is it stitched on? 32 count Lugana by Jody from Steel City Stitchers. So I don't have a fabric color name for it, but it's a beautiful blue. And I have, excuse my little thread there. That's the one I still have a thread hanging from, is this one. Because I was going to work on a snowflake there. But I have that much done. Look at it. It's coming out gorgeous on this blue color. I love it. Because the blue color is true to blue right here, as far back. And I had started it, I tried it on some other piece of fabric that was a lighter blue, but the snow wasn't showing up. So then I pulled up this one, which was a little bit more bluer piece of fabric, and the white is showing up really nice on this one. So I restarted this part up here probably 3 times, and I'd already stitched the whole snowflake cart in the first time around, until I realized that when I got down to the white down here, it wasn't showing up. None of it was showing up here, so was not happy with that. So now I am. So this is a Jody from Steel City Stitchers piece of fabric. Oh, sorry about that. Those hit the wood floor. Hopefully that didn't make too much noise for you guys. I have things stacked all around me here. So this next one that I worked on is another new start. Started this before I left for Ocean City, then I took it to Ocean City with me, did some more work on it, worked on it at least a good day in Ocean City. And when you're at a retreat, you got to have a whole good day to sit and stitch. And like I said, with all the Christmas shopping and errands and appointments and all that stuff that I've been doing, I sometimes wasn't have that much time to stitch. But I got started on this one. This one's called A Shepherd's Song by Plum Street Samplers. I just love all those sheep. Look at them. They're all different designs. So I started at the bottom so that I could work on the sheep. This time I did a bottom start on this one. This one is being stitched on, I think it might still, it's one of the ones that fell over down here. Excuse me while I come down here and try to pick stuff up off the floor. This one is stitched on, it's not on the fabric. I've been trying to, if what one is it? This one is, this is light taupe. I picked it out of my stash, out of my box of fabric. So either a 28 or 32 count Lugana in the color light taupe. And that's how far I got. So I got 2 of those sheepies in. I got this one in and filled in some of the green and did this border before I left. But then on the retreat, I filled in more of the green and got this whole sheep pretty much in. So look at those guys. Now around their eyes is over 1 stitching. So there is a little over 1 stitching in this one. So I picked a Lugana for this piece. And I'm loving it. And the green is not the called for green. I'm using a different green. It's a Victorian Motto green that I had in my stash. I'm pretty sure. I can look and check. And I think it was because I couldn't find the green that it called for. But everything else is the called for colors. So I'm using Sweet Peas by Victorian Motto for the grass down there. And then look at my mess of mop of threads here. But these are the colors in it. So I am using light taupe Lugana to stitch this one on, and I'm loving it. Love, love, love it. Then I got some more work done on my Prairie Schooler sampler Prairie Schooler, the Village Sampler by Prairie Schooler. And it looks like this. This is one I started back when I very first got back into cross stitch back in 2019, and I had some of the Crunchy Ada. I think this one's a Dirty Ada. Is it dirty? Milk chocolate. This one is milk chocolate, and this one is softening up a little bit as I'm working on it, but I was working on it the other day and it was making my fingers sore. You know, just pulling my needle and thread through it. But this is where I am. So see how it's so wrinkled because it's that crunchy Ada. Let me see if I can pull it a little tighter. This is where I am. So I was working down here. Since you last seen it, I did these, started on these quilts, did this fence, this started on this building here. So that's where I am on the Village Sampler by Prairie Schooler. It's not a very big piece. Hold the board behind it for you. Not very big, but I love it. It's cute. And like I said, it's wrinkly schminkly. Sorry. The thing is I'd iron it, then I fold it up and put it back in the bag and it'd just be all wrinkled again. And I'm not a big ironer, so I'll iron things when I need to. I will iron this before I frame it, and then you will see it sans wrinkles. Very cute. I still have to finish a couple of little things up here. I think some flowers, and the birds have some red stitching in them, like those birds. They're missing a little bit of their stitching. And then I'm not quite finished with the quilts. I still have to finish filling those in. And then I started on the tombstones here in the, oh, wait a minute. Why are these tombstones lighter and these darker? Uh-oh, I might have to look. I might have done dark, or something wrong. One of those is gonna have to be frogged out. I need to finish this, and there's another house here. Another building. It actually might be a schoolhouse. This one here, I think that's a schoolhouse. So I still have to do that. Finish this house here, finish those. But I am getting there. So not too much more to do on this one. And then this one will be finished. So if I don't get it finished this month, which I'm not sure if I'll have a chance to get it finished or not, because I have a little bit of WIPGO that I want to try to finish. I want to get my board complete for the year. I want to have a blackout. So I'm doing pretty good on that. So I might try to finish my WIPGO and of course work on some of Christmas pieces. And plus, you know, I'm going to have company here in another week or so for the rest of the year. So I don't know if I'll get how much stitching I'll get done then. So I might not get this finished, but maybe I can get it finished in January or February. You know, get it finished this winter. Keep trying to pull it out and work on it and get some more work on it and get it finished. That would be wunderbar. Okay. The next one that I worked on, I took this to the Ocean City retreat that I went on with a few of my girlfriends. I actually started this with a few girlfriends, Cindy, Madeline, and Paula. And I saw Cindy at the retreat, but Madeline couldn't make it, and Paula doesn't come to that one. But this one is Let Love Rain by Teresa Kogut. So we all started this together, I think it was in April, when we went to Ocean City in April. And I've been working on the top section. So I took it with me, and I'm doing this one on an ivory piece of Lugana, 28 count Lugana. And I was able to get a little more work done on this one. So I was able to come over and do this over here. Do that house, that tree. And that's what, you know, I pulled it up and I worked on it one day. So that's where I am on this one. Got some wrinkles, sorry. And let me put, where's the board? Well, let me fold it over. I do have a large piece here because it's going to be a big one. You know me, I love my big projects. Big stitches. So, let me bring it into what I was working on. I was working over there and just getting some of that done on that side. I'm loving it. Love this piece. I'm using all the called for DMCs. And like I said, this is a 28 count piece of Lugana in the color Ivory that I'm stitching it on. This one I'm trying to bring out fairly regularly and keep plugging away at it, work on it here and there. Some of these really large pieces, I'm really trying to be good about doing that. The next one that I was working on, and actually I was working on it some even just last night, and I've been working on it, this has been my latest piece in the last week or so, that, except for when I was at the retreat, that I've been trying to work on while I'm sitting and watching TV with my husband in the family room downstairs, and that is Winter Rose Manor by With Thy Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. And I was working on this big house. Had about half of it done. This one is being stitched on a 16 count piece of Ada in the color Dirty, I think. This is another one of those crunchy Adas. It's getting a little softer as I've been working on it over the past year or so. But there again, this one, I don't know, it's that crunchy Ada. I'm not enjoying it as much. I'm still going to keep doing it on this one because I have a lot done, and not switch the fabric. But crunchy Ada is not my choice of fabric too much anymore. So I had it filled in to, I had the door in and maybe to about here. So I filled in all of the rest of all the pink and put in these 5 windows. So that's what I'd been working on, but I still need to fill in those last windows there. I was filling in windows last night and got some of it done. Got the curtains in all of them and the background in these. But then I got really sleepy and tired. It was getting late, so I quit. That's where I stopped. And I am not using all the called for this one. And then my fabric ripped right here. On one of the times I was using it, and see it's unraveling. It ripped. I was trying to get it out of the Q-snap, and I was pulling the Q-snap, and somehow I caught it and ripped it. But it ends, it only comes to about probably right here. So it's not, you know, it still leaves me space. Let me hold it with the board. So it still leaves me enough space to frame it. I'm just going to frame this one by myself. I already have a frame I picked up at Goodwill I want to use for this piece. So this is where it is. And I'm still got a ways to go. There's a potted plant here. There's a large plant here. There's a couple more motifs up in here. And then the rest of this border. And then there's all of this is filled in white down here. So there's still a pathway, another couple more trees, and all the white down there to still put in. So I still have quite a bit. But see, this is Dirty Ada, and see how the white shows up well on Dirty Ada. It really pops, and that's what I wanted because this one has snowflakes and things like that, little white stuff that's all through it. Show it to you again here. So I still have all of this, I still have to put my initials in, do this whole big thing, the roof of this house still. All of this down here, this potted plant here, and this border. I've finished this border and this border, but I still have that other border to still do. Whoops. So, still got a ways to go on this one, but I've done quite a bit. I'm pleased with the progress on this one. All of that pink for that house is done. And I am not, it called for conch. And at the time when I was kidding this was COVID and everybody was stitching on this and I could not find conch anywhere. Plus since then I've heard a lot of people say they didn't care for the color conch and they were switching it out anyway. I switched mine, my house was stitched in Rosy Glow by, where is it? By Classic Colorworks. So I switched out a bunch of my colors because I could not find the called fors. So mine is being stitched. Where is it? I was just stitching with it last night. Huh. I must have left it still down by the chair, sorry. But it's Rosy Glow by Classic Colorworks is the color that I am using for the house. I do know that because I was just stitching on this pink forever and a day and I got it done. So that is Rosy Glow by Classic Colorworks. You think I'd never done a video before. I feel like I'm kind of a mess here. My nose keeps tickling, like always does. I don't know if it's, I don't know. My theory is fibers off of the fabrics, but who knows? Because my nose won't itch the rest of the day. I'm doing a Flosstube video. Go figure. Now this one is one that I'm started at. It says start along, stitch along. With two of my friends on Flosstube, Lori Ciccolone with Once Upon a Stitch. Her Flosstube channel is Once Upon a Stitch, and she also is on Instagram as Once Upon a Stitch. So Lori Ciccolone and Lindsay from Blushing Pink Stitches. She on Flosstube and on Instagram. They started a sal, and they are calling it Back to the Flea Market Sal. Hashtag back to the flea. Hashtag Back to the Flea Market Sal. S-A-L. This is for the Flea Market Flowers by Lori Holt. It looks like this. Let me hold it straight for you guys. And I started up here, and this was a stitch along that started on December 2nd. So it started while I was at my retreat in Ocean City. So I took it along with me to start, and I got a good whole day there, and I worked on it a little bit more when I got back. So I worked a good couple of days on it, and I'm stitching this one on 28 count Lugana in the color Latte by Fiber on a Whim. And this is how far I am. Where I got to. Oh, wait, it goes this way. And it looks crooked, but that's just because it's a softer piece of fabric, so it kind of pulls in the Q-snap. So I finished this one. I got almost all of this done at the gridding and this flower. I think I just had like 2 petals left over here. So I finished that. The other day I had to take the dogs to the groomer, so while I was waiting, I finished that flower and started this one. I got the stem and the leaf of the next flower. So if you are interested, if you have this one, if you started this one but never finished it, join us for this hashtag Back to the Flea Market Sal, and post your progress. Let us know how you're doing on this one. Join along with us. Post it on Instagram, or you could also post on and use that hashtag so we can see progress and be able to see what everybody's doing. So this is my progress on the Flea Market Sal with Lori and Lindsay that I'm doing. And then the last new start, that was a new start. The last new start I had, the last piece I was working on was something I picked up while I was at Salty Yarns in Ocean City. It's just been recently released. It was an exclusive retreat piece for the Amana retreat, I believe it was. And this is by Brenda Gervais with I Needle and Thread. And it is called Santa Stops Here. So Salty Yarns had it, and I picked it up. She puts all her new releases right at the front of the store. And so I walked in, it was right there. So I picked it up, I said, yep, that's one of the ones I was looking for while I was there. And I had brought a piece of fabric with me that I thought would work for it. So that's what it looks like without the glare of the bag. Santa Stops Here. When they got it at the Amana retreat, they had it kitted and it came with this fabric, but I wanted a different fabric for mine. So I am stitching mine on a piece of Be Stitch Me fabric. And you can look for Brandy at Be Stitch Me online. Just, you know, search Be Stitch Me and you can order her fabrics. I was on in her Fabric of the Month Club for over a year. I just recently stopped it because now I'm going to do, for this coming year, I want to do fortnight fabrics. And through Stitch New England, the store Stitch New England, they're doing an Atomic Ranch Fabric of the Month Club. So I'm going to do those 2 Fabric of the Month clubs this coming year. So unfortunately, I stopped the Be Stitch Me, but I love her fabric. I recommend her fabric if you're looking for some fabrics. So this is Be Stitch Me's Rainy Day, 28 count Lugana, and this is how far I got. This is where I am on the house. I am using the called for overdyes and DMCs, except the roof here. I switched charcoal for grapevine. I'm using grapevine there. I'm still using charcoal. That's what's inside these 2 windows. But I wanted to do the roof in grapevine just because I had it. Why not? And that's true to color right there. And this is just a needle miner I made from a pendant, and I glued a magnet on the back. Pendant I picked up on sale at like Joann's or Hobby Lobby. It's just a big old snowflake, but you can see where it was a pendant, where it could hang. And I just glued a magnet on the back with E6000 glue. And that's my a needle minder. Love, love, love this piece. So the only 2 colors that are not the called for that I'm using for this one, like I said, that is Rainy Day by Be Stitch Me. And the only 2 I'm not using is I'm switching in Grapevine by Weeks Dye Works. Oops. Wait a minute. Yeah. Grapevine for the roof. But I'm still using charcoal for all the other places where charcoal is called for. They're just a little bit different in color. Charcoal's more gray, grapevine's more brown. So that I'm switching. And then wherever there is snow in the piece, the window panes in this are in grits. The color Grits by Classic Color Works, I believe. What is it? No, by Weeks Dye Works. I'm going to do all of those parts in the called for grits, but where there is snow, there's snowflakes and there's snow on the ground and a snowman. I'm going to do all the snow in Bamboo by Classic Color Works. It's just a little whiter color. Grits I'm going to use for everything else, and Bamboo for the snow. It's hard to tell. In the camera, they look very, very similar, but in person, this looks more cream like ecru, and this one looks more white. So those are the only 2 things I switched out. Otherwise, they're all the called for. These are the DMCs, and most of it's Weeks Dye Works, and then the called for Weeks Dye Works. So that was the last thing I was working on. That is it. That's all I've been up to for the last 6 weeks, besides Christmas shopping and errands and 2 retreats and Thanksgiving and Halloween and all of the things. So now I have a big pile of mess here. Oh, I wanted to show you a previous Christmas piece that I had worked on. I showed it to you last year. Thought I'd show it again for anybody who's new to my channel and hadn't seen it. This is by Leisure Arts, and this is a Portrait of Santa piece that I did. And sorry, I framed it myself, so it's nothing fancy schmancy, and it is in glass. But this is Portrait of Santa. Love him. I put him out every Christmas. I probably finished him 30 years ago, probably back in the 90s. So that's my Portrait of Santa by Leisure Arts. Pretty sure that's what that one was called. I don't have the Leisure Art leaflet anymore. That was so long ago. In fact, I have people, I showed Lady of the Flag, and I have people always ask me, you know, can I purchase that from you? Do you still have it? And I do not. Old patterns, I do not have anymore. I stitched them and they're gone. I didn't have plans to restitch Lady of the Flag. I didn't have plans to restitch the Santa Claus, because I tell you what, this Santa Claus was a lot of stitching and a lot of confetti, a lot of work in him, like just his skin alone. Lots and lots of stitches, and then there's back stitching in him. I was like, I am not stitching him again, so I don't need this leaflet anymore. So I'm just going to have to always put a disclaimer up if I ever show her again, or she happens to be on the wall behind me. I do not have that pattern anymore, you know, I just don't. There are so many people looking for it. I wish it could get released again. I know it was released at least once. And I don't know if they re-released it again, but hopefully they'll do it again, but I don't know, because they've already done it before. So, so now let me see. I've talked to you about all of my things. So now I want to talk to you about, I said I don't do a lot of plans. I do a little bit of plans. One of the things I do is WIPGO, but another thing I want to do is I'm planning a New Year, New Start. And my New Year, New Start for this year is going to be Royal Holiday by Mirabilia. This queen. So many people have stitched her. Heidi with Stitching Faye. Is that her channel? What's her channel name? Yeah, I think it's Stitching Faye. Heidi, she has stitched this, and I think she's almost done with her. And she is gorgeous. And she's doing her on a piece of gingerbread fabric, which is absolutely beautiful. I think Carolyn Zook is stitching this one. There's several people stitching her. I want to start her on January 1st. She's going to be my New Year, New Start. So if you want to join along, like I said, I'm a seasonal stitcher. So I'm going to start her. I'm going to get some stitching on her in January. Then she may get put away after January or February, and then not pulled out again until like next November, December. So, but I am going to call this #Royal New Year SAL. So if you're interested and you have her, you want to stitch along with her, you want to post your progress so I can see it, Royal New Year SAL. That's what I'm going to call this one. So that's going to be my New Year, New Start. So that is a plan for 2023. And then I wanted to show you my WIPGO. My WIPGO board for this year. My fancy WIPGO board. Looks like this. I just have 3 left. I just have 4, 12, and 24. And 12 and 24 were called in December, and 4 was in November. So all I have left to work on is Lavender and Lace, Santa of the Forest. I brought him up here. Yes, I did. And my goals are to work 10 hours on every piece. So my Santa of the Forest, let me get him up here. Looks like, let me pull his picture out. He was released years ago. Lavender and Lace has been around for a long time. In fact, the designer, Marilyn Levitt Emblem, was Nora Corbett's mom, and she passed away, so she doesn't design anymore, of course. But this was one of her pieces. And I've done a lot of Lavender and Lace. I have a lot more Lavender Lace to do. But because she's one of my favorite designers. Back in the day, was Lavender and Lace. Picked up a lot of these. And I stitched a lot of her angels. And I have a bunch of her Celtic ladies. And I have this. So I'm stitching this one on 16 count Sage Summer Khaki Ada. And this is a crunchy Ada, but he's on a frame, so he doesn't bother me as much, because I guess on the frame he's working pretty good. And I haven't stitched on him for any length of time anytime recently, so maybe I haven't remembered him making my fingers sore, because it's been a while since I've worked on him. But here he is. So I got the bear done. And this is part of the inside of Santa's cape. If you can see that there. So I might work on, not real sure, but I might pull it up and work on this bunny rabbit right here. Try to work in here, right under here. And fill the bunny rabbit in. Because, yeah, he's right here. These are where his ears go. It's right next to the bear's paw. So if I can get that bunny in, like I said, my goal is 10 hours. So I'm going to see if I can get, I want to get some work on this. And this is Sage Summer Khaki, 16 count Aida that I'm doing this one on. This was a piece of fabric I pulled out of my stash of crunchy Aida. And working on that one. And I've done a lot. I am not switching to a different fabric. If it hurts my fingers, I'll just have to pull it up, you know, work on a little bit here or there until I get it finished. Sorry for reaching down. So that's one of my WIPGO pieces that I want to work on this month. I'm going to try to get some work on. And another one is, I have stuff everywhere. If you could see the mess I have down here, it's ridiculous. Is by Teresa Kogut. This one's called Heaven and Nature Sing. Pull it out of the project bag. I don't know if I need to pull it out of the plastic, but that's what it looks like. And I've been working way up here. And this one I am stitching on a piece of Fortnite fabric, it looks like, because it's beautiful fabric. That's why I signed up for their fabric of the month. This one is Caravan Tan. This I picked up, I think, at StitchCon. This piece of fabric. Either StitchCon or Salty Yarns. And that's how far I am right now on it. So I'm going to get 10 more hours in on this piece and get some more work done on it. So, Heaven and Nature by Teresa Kogut. I just have the little cherub guy, this flower pot, and some of the border done. And a squirrel. Squirrel. So, 10 more hours on that one to finish that WIPGO goal. And then the last WIPGO piece that I have to do to finish out for the year is my Village at Hawk Run Hollow. Let me move this out of the way. So my Village at Hawk Run Hollow is going to be a little bit different. But I am working on the block that is Opal's Boarding House. It's the first one I started. I gridded this whole thing. Sorry, because I'm upstairs, I'm closer to the front door. Maya, shush shush, babe. Shush shush, baby. Okay. That's the back. This is where I am on Opal's Boarding House. So I'm going to get 10 more hours, and I'm hoping to actually be able to finish that block before the end of the year. Have a block finish on this one. But see, I've gridded the whole thing in. And what I'm going to do different with this one, and this one is a color and cotton 16 count Aida, but it's a soft Aida. It's over dyed. This is by Color and Cotton, and it's called Aged Paper. So that's what this one looks like. And what I'm going to do with this one, I'll show you what I'm doing. I ended up getting Houses of Hawk Run Hollow also. So I have the Village. What's that? Oh. Hold, please. Let me figure out my mess here. So the Village looks like this. And I'm working on Opal's Boarding House down here. And I love most of these, but I really am not stoked about really putting the cemetery in and the ones that have a lot of words. This one, this one, and this one. You know, so I also have the Houses of Hawk Run. So what I have decided, I'm going to mishmash these together. And so I made copies of those two front sheets, and then I cut them out. And I'm going to do mine like this. So I still have Opal's Boarding House, and I still have the church up here, the parish. But some of these, let's see, this one's going to be the same. Some of these, like this one and this one up here, I think about 5 of these are going to come from Houses of Hawk Run. So I'm mishmashing the two together, and then my piece will end up looking something like this. That's my plan. I wanted to get rid of a lot of the words. I'm not a big fan of a bunch of the words. There's only words over top of the first house. I don't mind if it lists what it is. Like in the sign here, it says Opal's Boarding House. Or down here, it says the Reverend Isaiah Cook, you know, in for the church. That's fine if I want to go ahead and put those in. If it says like Jacob's grist mill, you know, I don't mind that, but I don't want all of the words, all of the poem or whatever that's on here, all of these words. So I'm mishmashing. We'll see how that comes out. So I sat there one day and I figured that all out this last few weeks. Figured out what I wanted to really do with this one so I can move on. So 10 more hours on this, and then I will have my WIPGO completed. I am having company that's going to start arriving here in about, I don't know, a week or so, probably about 10 days, a week and a half. So I'm going to be here with my mom and her husband are coming up from Florida. I think they're going to get here probably the 19th or 20th. We also have plans to take them to the dinner theater here in Fredericksburg when they're here. They enjoyed it last year. It's something that I wanted to try to do with them again. Their anniversary is December 22nd. So, and it'll be their 10th anniversary. Like I said, my dad passed away like 17 years ago. So my mom remarried, and her husband will be celebrating their anniversary while they're out here with us. So we want to take them out there. Plus my mom's birthday's in November, and his birthday, her husband's birthday, is December 11th, I believe. It's in December. They're in November and December birthdays. So kind of a combination birthday, anniversary gift. We like to take them to the dinner theater. So we got plans to do that. My daughter and her family, their 2 dogs, their 2 boys, her husband, they're all checking out of base housing, probably right around the 20th, something like that, 19th, 20th. And then they will be here living with us until they leave a little bit after Christmas to head out to Colorado, to the next duty station. So we're going to have quite a bit of family. We're going to have also family visiting. My sister will come out with her family from Warrenton, Virginia, at least one day while she's out here. And then I have my other daughter that lives out here with my 2 granddaughters. So they'll come out here and spend some time out here. So I'm going to have like a lot of family, a lot of busy time. So I don't know how much stitching I'll get done then, but I do plan on, I still have maybe, you know, I got to finish decorating, finish all my stuff. I got the tree downstairs, a few other things that I still have to put out and decorate, gift wrapping, a little bit more Christmas shopping, a couple of appointments that I have coming up. So I'm going to be pretty busy for this month. So when I get stitching in, I'll stitch. So I probably am not going to check in with you guys again, be able to visit with you guys again till January. But I'm going to try as close to the beginning of January as possible to check in with you guys, because I don't want it to go 6 weeks again. This was just way too long. This was basically a mini WIP parade. And I don't like it to go that long. I really don't. But I do want to tell you just a couple of small goals I have for 2023, since I'm only at an hour and a half. That's not too bad. I thought this video was going to end up being 3 hours long. Not too bad. I started a WIPGO board, but I'm thinking I might do 2. This first WIPGO board that I started, and see, I do really fancy. I draw it all out. I put all the numbers in there, and then I write down, and I wrote down generic. I had showed this before, where I just have number 1 as a sampler. And then when that number is called, because the sampler could be, maybe it gets called in, at Christmas time, you know, like around this time of the year. And maybe I decide to let that sampler be Heaven and Nature, you know, because it's a Christmassy sampler. If it gets called in the springtime, I might pull up something like this, Flea Market Flowers or something, you know, or, you know, one of my springish type pieces. And then I have other generics like Plum Street, because I have Plum Streets that are patriotic, which seem more summer to me. And then I have Plum Streets like Santa's, oh no, that's not here. That's a Brenda Gervais. But I have different ones that can fall into different seasons. So I'll pick one, Mirabilia or Nora Corbett. I have some that are spring looking, some that'll be winter looking, some that'll be summer looking, you know, things like that. So Twin Peak Primitives, Lavender and Lace, Hawk Run Hollows, you know, Teresa Kogets. So I have generics, and then when that gets pulled, I'll pick, you know, TPP is Twin Peak Primitives, L&L is Lavender and Lace, HR is Hawk Run, So I'll pick which out of my plum streets or which out of my lavender and lace that I want to work on for that month. So I did a generic board like that. And then I thought I want to do a second board. This just came to me yesterday and I haven't drawn up the board yet. But what I want to do is put a board with a few of my really large pieces. I have Pandemic by Long Dog Sampler. I have Do Different by Long Dog that I just barely started and I have a small bit done on. What are some of the other ones? His Eye is on the Sparrow. That's a really big one that I would like to keep plugging along on. Let Love Rain that I showed you. And Elizabeth Weston, that was my birthday start last year. She's a really big reproduction sampler. If I put those on that board and maybe put those into 2 slots each, I picked out 7. I have His Eye is on the Sparrow, and this is my sloppy writing. My Token of Love, which is an anniversary piece I'm trying to do for my husband and I, which I barely have any done. Dog's Declaration that I showed you. Elizabeth Weston, that was my birthday start. Let Love Rain, I just showed you. Do Different. And Pandemic, there's 7 of those. So if I put them 2 times each, that takes up 14 blocks of 25. That leaves 11. So I'm thinking 11 new starts besides my New Year new start. I looked at how many new starts I had for this year, and I think I counted up like 47 or 48 new starts. And the year before, I think I had about that many, 40, 50 new starts. So if I continue at that rate, I'm going to have 300 WIPs. And that, I don't mind having a lot of WIPs, but I'm really thinking of next year trying to see if this will work. I mean, I don't have to follow my rules if I don't want to. But if I can't start a new start, except for my New Year new start, this is already planned. This one's going to start on January 1st. But other than that, I can't start a new start in 2023 unless it comes up on my WIPGO board. So if it's one of the blocks that says new start, then yay, I get to start something new. And I have a handful of things, a good probably 2 dozen things already kitted up sitting there that I really, really would like to start sometime. So I can look in those, or it could even be something else new, like the Santa Stop Here that just got released that I wanted to start. So I'm thinking if I do that, that'll only be 12 new starts for next year, which is probably a lot for some people. And it wouldn't seem like so much except for the fact that a lot of my projects are big projects. So if I'm starting 12 more big projects, I mean, one of my starts is this lady. She's not going to get done in 2023. If she does, that'd be amazing. But more like she'll probably finished in like 2028 or something. You know, she'll be hanging around for a couple of few years. So a lot of my projects are so large that if I can limit myself to 12, and it doesn't mean they'll all be large. I might even start some small ones. I got a couple of mill heel kits and some little ornament things that I would like to start. So we'll see. So that's my plans, is I'm going to try to do 2 WIPGO boards, and one's going to be large pieces and new starts on it. And then this other one is just generic out of my stash. And we'll see how that goes. And then those are the only plans that I'm planning for the whole year, is to try to limit my new starts, see if I can do that for the year, and get progress on those pieces. You know, see if I can get those 2 WIPGO boards done. And if you're wondering what WIPGO is, it was started by Jessie Marie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff on Flosstube. Check out her video. Last year, right around this time last year, she posted a WIPGO, like it explained everything about WIPGO. You know, basically you just make a bingo board. She calls the numbers through her Facebook group. So you go to WIPGO on the Facebook group and ask to join that. And then she will release the 2 numbers on the Facebook group. So every month, at the end of the month, like at the 27th, 28th of the month, she'll call the next 2 numbers for the following month. So at the end of December, she'll call January's numbers this year, you know, for January 2023. So if you want to know more information about it, check out her videos and check out her Facebook page. So I had a little bit of haul. I forgot to bring up the couple of charts. I picked up 2 Blackbird charts besides that Santa Stop Here by Brenda Gervais. I picked up Humming of the Bees by Blackbird and Little Birds by Blackbird. So I forgot to bring those upstairs with me. And then while I was at Salty Yarns, I also picked up, I was thinking of doing Santa Stop Here on this piece of Vintage Stormy Night Lugana. And so I picked up a piece big enough to do it on. But then I went back to the stitching room and I was comparing it to the piece of fabric I brought, that Be Stitch Me Rainy Day piece. And I decided to do it on a bluer piece when I laid out my threads. So I decided on this piece rather than this piece. This one's more gray, this one's more blue. So I still have this that I'll put in my fabric stash too. So I picked this piece of fabric up while I was there. And then like I said, I'm in Brandy's Be Stitch Me, but I just canceled it. So this was the latest piece of fabric I got from her, and it was called, I think this was in November, because I think I canceled before December's. Whimsical, and I get a 28 count piece of Lugana, and I get a fat quarter, and this was Whimsical. Now she lists her fabric size. She must measure it before she dyes it, because the dyeing process can shrink your fabric. And it says it's 18 by 27. Usually it's about 16.5 by 26. So measure your fabric before you stitch on it, just to make sure. But this is the piece, beautiful. This one's a darker blue. I liked this Rainy Day, more of a gray-y blue for my Santa Stop Here. This is the difference in these 2 blues. So yeah, you're getting, I got this one probably a couple of months ago. Probably got this back in August, September. And then I got this one in November. They're both blues, but they're completely different blues. Both beautiful. So I got this piece of fabric from Be Stitch Me. And that was probably the very last piece of fabric on my, before I canceled it. Like I said, didn't cancel it because her service is great. Ships out when she says she's going to ship it out. It comes to you in a timely manner, and her fabric is gorgeous. Love stitching on it. Love the colors. So I've been getting it for about 1.5 years, and I wanted to switch to Fortnite Fabrics and get those for, start on there, get their fabric of the month for the year. And the Atomic Ranch from Stitch New England. That's a new shop by Pam Dumont. I hate when there's all this threads hanging off. Then I picked up a bunch of fabric from To Dye For Fabrics on Etsy. She has a lot of different colors. And these are all 28 count Luganas, all over dyed. And I picked up, 5 or 6 pieces here? Because I'm trying to decide what I want to stitch Royal Holiday on. So this one is Honeydew Melon by To Dye For Fabrics. So if I hold it back here, it's kind of got blues and greens. Bluey green. Honeydew Melon, 28 count Ada. Then this one is Harvest Gold. So do I want her on Harvest Gold? Or this Light Moss Green. They're all 28 count Luganas. Do I want her on this green? So I've got decision. Or Acorn Top. They're all by To Dye For Fabrics on Etsy. This one looks very similar to the one Heidi did hers on, the gingerbread, and it looks very similar to the called for. So Acorn Top by To Dye For Fabrics. And the way she does hers on hers, she'll show a skein of floss that matches closest to the color, so that you kind of get an idea of what your color really looks like when you get it in. And then I just picked up 2 larger neutral pieces. And this one is called Buttercream. So it's kind of a light yellowy, buttery color. And wheat. So this one's a little darker, a little more tan. And that's the difference in the two. Wheat and buttercream. So those are the fabrics I picked up off of the dye for. And then I've been getting from Garon Stitchery, I've been getting the Cottage Garden of the Month threads. And so I got these just came in, so these might be December's. I think they come in the very first of the month. But these are browns. So I've got these ready to go ahead and add to my collection of threads to just hang them from the floss drops from where all the browns are located. I had showed you how I organized my overdyed threads before. So when they come to you though, here is, these must be maybe November's threads. When they come to you, they come all wound up like this. Let me open this bag. These Cottage Garden threads are made in, they're dyed in Australia. They're an Australian dyer. And they've just been recently being able to really get good supplies here in the US this past year. So that's nice. So these are, it just says Thread of the Month Club by Garon Stitchery. Doesn't say which month, but I'm pretty sure this was November's. So these are all the colors for November, and they come like this. They come all twisted up on these little, they're floss drops. That's the way these work. So I'll show you when I want to hang them with the rest of my stuff. I go ahead and I unwind them. So now they're ready to just pull off of here. And they have instructions on the back on how to do it. You can basically just squeeze it and pull a thread and get your thread right straight off of here. You don't have to do anything with them. They're already in the length that you want, which they're the length I like to use. And I love the variegations in their threads. So when I get it, I just kind of squeeze it right here, and then I grab the one in and it comes right out. And then I just unwind it. And then it'll be ready to hang with the rest of my flosses. And then you can really see the variegation in your threads too when you hang them like that. So that when they're hanging there, I can really see what that thread looks like to decide if that's what I want to use. So this one is Ginger Lily. Then this next one is Aster. Let me just pull it loose, unwind it. So this is Aster. Look at the pretty variegation in that one. This one is Moonstone. I'll just pull it loose and unwind it. And that one's a brighter orange, sherbety orange. That's really pretty. Then this one is called Citrus. So I'll just squeeze it, pull that one down, unwind it. Citrus, another really bright orangey color. Look at that. Wouldn't that have been pretty for just to do that with my my Halloween at Hawk Run, to do the fire under the cauldron? Oh, that would have been pretty. Uh-oh. What am I doing wrong here? Didn't pull it all. And then this one is Chinese Lantern. So these are all beautiful orangey colors. So here they are all together. Got a variation of beautiful oranges. Look at that. And then all of these browns that came in this month, I have carrot seed and wheat and slate. Then I have blackwood and hot coffee. So beautiful browns and beautiful oranges. So these are the past couple of months of the threads of the month that I was getting. And that, I think that does my haul. That does all of my haul. Let me see if there was anything else. I showed you my WIPGO progress, my New Year, New Start. Start with me if you wish. The Royal New Year, hashtag Royal New Year SAL, or join along with Lori and Lindsay and I in the Back to the Flea Market SAL, hashtag, on either of those on Instagram. And like I said, I went over my plans for next year. Not a lot, because I'm not trying to do a bunch of plans, because that doesn't work for me. And I'm looking at my mess, and I think I've showed you everything. So that is it. I am really, really wishing you guys Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, or however you celebrate at this time of the year, and a Happy New Year. And I'll see you guys in the new year to come. So happy 2023, everybody, and happy holidays. Love you all. Bye-bye.